Hello everyone. Good afternoon. How are you guys? Am I audible and visible? Somebody please ping me so that I can begin with today's short section and every one of you what is the topic for today's discussion. Okay? I have already covered the important topics of ancient and medieval Indian history, wherein we had discussed on what topics do we need to focus upon. Okay? So today's specifically agenda of our discussion is important topics of modern Indian history. Then what kind of questions can crop up from these sections? And the third important aspect, which books do we need to prefer for modern Indian history as a part of holistic approach? Okay. So guys, please ping me. Am I audible and visible? Somebody please ping me. Just a second. Yes, good noon. Sunita. Just hold on. Just a second, guys. And then I'll begin my session. Just hold on for a second, guys. Okay. Thanks a lot, Sunita. Okay, sorry for the disturbance, guys. So, now let's begin with today's session. See, previously we have discussed the important topics of ancient and medieval Indian history, wherein we had focused upon what topics do we need to study. In simple words, which topics we cannot afford to miss. Similarly, in today's session, see, it is more important to know what not to read than what to read. So here we are going to discuss those topics which are very important from the exam perspective. And you cannot afford at any cost to miss these topics. So it's a request to every one of you. Please have a pen and paper along with you so that you can note down the important points and important topics that you need to study. Okay? So let's understand and let's begin with important topics of modern Indian history. The first topic that you have to study is arrival of Europeans. Okay, and in arrival of Europeans, just let me note it down within a second first, and then I'll explain. Okay, guys, please keep the session interactive. Okay, and in that case, if you have any kind of a doubt, any kind of a query or any kind of a question, please feel free to ask. So who are the first to arrive in India? Was it the Portuguese? Was it the French East India Company, English East India Company or Dutch East India Company? Yes? Answer in the comment section. My friends, Portuguese were the first to arrive in India. Okay? And from the side of Portuguese, it was Vasco da Gama who landed on the coast of Calicut and met Eradi dynasty ruler Zamorin, who is also referred as Samutri. So, we have to understand or you have to study Portuguese in quite depth and detail. Very good, Sunita. In quite depth and detail. Like for example, I'll correlate with the previous year questions as well. Very simple words. Which among the following Portuguese viceroys came up with blue water policy? Now, what is blue water policy all about? Very simple words. Establishing a monopolistic control over the trade in Indian Ocean. That is nothing but blue water policy. And the person or the Portuguese viceroy who came up with the blue water policy was, yes, can you take a guess? It was Francisco de Almeida. Then, Who made Goa as the epicenter of economic activities? I didn't say who made Goa as the capital of Portuguese in India. Who made Goa as the epicenter of economic activities? It was made by whom? Alfonso de Albuquerque. And Goa was made as the capital of Portuguese in India by Nino de Cunha. So Portuguese section is important from the exam perspective. Another important section, that is like you just need to have an overview of VOC. Now what is VOC? Verenigd Oost Campaign de Indies. Very simple word. United East India Company, also referred as Dutch East India Company. So where did Dutch East India Company establish its permanent settlement for the first time? In India. So Dutch East India Company established its first factory at Masulipatam. So Dutch East India Company is another important topic. And in Dutch East India Company, even if you do not read everything, at least read one important battle. And that is nothing but Battle of Colachel. Very important one, 1741. Like it is said that Battle of Colachel is nothing but the last nail in the coffin of Dutch East India Company in India. Okay. Then comes English East India Company. And English East India Company needs to be read in quite depth and detail. Compulsorily. Like English, who was the first to arrive from the English East India Company? So it was Captain William Hawkins, who came in the court of Jahangir, followed by Captain Middleton and Sir Thomas Roe. And for the very first time, they got the permission to establish factory at Surat. Then English East India Company. Apart from English East India Company, three rather than saying three, here are three important battles, and the fourth one is series of battles that you need to study compulsorily. First one that you need to study is Battle of Plassey, 1757. Second one is Third Battle of Panipat, 1761. Battle of Buxar, 1764. And then Anglo-Carnatic Wars. If you want to note it down, my friends, you can note it down along with me. It's a very important thing that I'm mentioning. Okay. Like I'll give you a very simple example. You might have heard about one thing, that drain of wealth theory was given for the first time by Dadabhai Navroji in his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. It was further elaborated by R.C. Dutt in his book Economic History of India. And the drain of wealth theory was discussed for the first time. A very important thing I'm telling you. Drain of wealth theory was discussed for the first time in 1896 section of Indian National Congress, which was presided by Rahmatullah Sayani. There's one more significance of 1896 session, that Vande Mataram was sung for the first time in 1896 session. Okay. So specifically speaking, here drain of wealth theory, I'll give you a very simple example. Why do you need to understand Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar? Because Battle of Plassey, which took place in 1757, and Buxar, which took place in 1764, just within a span of 7 to 8 years, approximately 4.94 million pounds was drained out of India. It's just an approximate figure. You can imagine the surplus amount of money that was getting drained out of India as a part of drain of wealth. And after Battle of Buxar, there was a treaty that was signed that is referred as a Treaty of Allahabad in 1765. So what was the major reason for this drain of wealth? Hence, it is necessary to study Battle of Buxar, followed by Treaty of Allahabad, which was signed between English East India Company and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. As per this treaty, it is believed that, simple words, English East India Company gave 26 lakh rupees to Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. And English East India Company is going to do nothing for free. Obviously, they might have certain hidden or intrinsic agenda. And what was that? Simple words, English East India Company got the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha after Battle of Buxar. And that became one of the major reasons for drain of wealth. So these battles are very important to study. Apart from these battles, the next important topics that you cannot afford to miss, and I'll tell you what kind of questions have cropped up in the examination previously, is important governor generals. Okay? Important governor generals. Now let me give you few examples. Yes, Sunita, you have answered Ralph Fitch. Ralph Fitch was the first Englishman who visited the court of Akbar. My question was, who was the first Englishman from English East India Company to come in India? Okay, Sunita, hope my point is clear. Coming back. Now, important governor generals, let me give you a very simple example of the questions that have cropped up in the examination and probability of the questions that can crop up in the examination. Please keep the session interactive. If you have any, what we say, specifically doubt, you can ask me. Okay. Yes, Sunita, am I audible properly? Hope, I guess the voice is clear. Now let me ask you a few questions. My first question to you guys is, which among the following Governor General had introduced subsidiary alliance system? Second question, which among the following Governor General had created Thuggy and Dacoity Department? My third question, which among the following Governor General is known for his policy of guarantee system? Okay, which among the following Governor General is known for his policy of guarantee system? So take a wild guess. Subsidiary alliance system came up during the time of whom? Yes, answer to this question is Lord Arthur Richard Wellesley. In fact, subsidiary alliance system was originally the idea of French Governor Dupleix. Okay, but like see, Britishers have always adopted two major policies in India. That is divide and rule, and second is carrot and stick policy. Okay, now let me give you an example. Now, it is not like that only Mysore is having wars with English East India Company, or Marathas are having war with English East India Company. In fact, there is internal squabble between these rulers as well. Correct? Like Mysore is fighting with Nizam of Hyderabad. Nizam of Hyderabad is fighting with Nawab of Arcot. Then Mysore is fighting with the Marathas. So in that case, there is internal squabble within the Indian rulers as well. And this was seen as an opportunity by the governors of English East India Company. Okay. So at that time, Lord Richard Wellesley, he came up with subsidiary alliance system. Very simple words. Subsidiary alliance system is nothing but Britishers would be referred as paramount power, and those kingdoms who are accepting the subsidiary alliance system would be referred as protected state. Okay. Now, you can imagine how these protected states are surrendering their sovereignty to English East India Company. So what were the clauses of subsidiary alliance system? The first clause, an army would be stationed in the, what we say, territory of the ruler who had accepted subsidiary alliance system. Apart from this, who is going to pay for the expenses of these army or these soldiers? The ruler. A British resident would be posted or placed in the court of the ruler. The ruler cannot enter into any treaty with any other European power without the permission of Britishers. In simple words, this is nothing but surrendering one's sovereignty, and that is called a subsidiary alliance system. The first to accept subsidiary alliance system was Nizam of Hyderabad, followed by Mysore, Peshwas and so on. Okay, Awadh. So it came up during the time of Lord Wellesley. What is Thuggy and Dacoity Department? Any idea? Thuggy and Dacoity Department was created by which Governor General? Just take a wild guess. Yes, my friends? Please keep it interactive. If you have any kind of a query, any kind of a doubt or a question, please feel free to ask. So Thuggy and Dacoity Department, it was created, I'll give you a hint, by the first Governor General of India. And who was he? Lord William Bentinck. Now let me give you a small synopsis about Lord William Bentinck. Very good, Sunita. Lord William Bentinck, he was the first Governor General of India as per Charter Act 1833. And when Lord William Bentinck, he became the Governor General, he observed one thing, that Exchequer was running a loss of 1 million. So here he wanted to recover these losses. So what did he do? He halved the salaries of every officer. Apart from this, he imposed duty on cultivation of opium in the region of Malwa, which is nothing but western part of Madhya Pradesh. Then he abolished double bhatta system, which is also referred as foreign service allowance, the extra incentives that were given to the soldiers. And then it is also said that he started Thuggy and Dacoity Department to control the thugs in the region of northern part of India. And this department was created under an officer whose name was William Henry Sleeman. In fact, even today, there is a village named as Sleemanabad near Katni. Katni, it's a district in MP. So this was created by Lord William Bentinck. Now another question, who came up with the guarantee system? Take a guess. If I'll give you a hint, I'm pretty sure you would be able to answer this question. The very first hint that I'll give you is, he was the youngest Governor General. He became the Governor General at the age of 36. Yes, take a guess. He is the youngest Governor General. Second clue I'll give you. Very good, Sunita. Before the second clue itself, you have answered the question. It's Lord Dalhousie. If I speak about doctrine of lap system, the very first name that crops up your mind is Lord Dalhousie. But what about the guarantee system? Now, Britishers had come up with guarantee system for development of railways in India. So, guarantee system was brought in for development of railways. Okay, and this came up during the time of Lord Dalhousie. So, Governor Generals are important. You can expect probable questions from Governor Generals. So, please do not miss this section. Another important section that you cannot afford to miss during your preparation is Important Charter Act. First one is Regulating Act 1773. Pitt's India Act 1784. All these acts I have covered as a part of YouTube. Okay. Presently, we are going through classroom series as a part of YouTube. And in that case, all these acts have been covered in a very detailed and thorough manner. So, aspirants, those who are new to the platform, can go through that series as well. Okay. Yes, Vikas Raj, perfect. Lord Dalhousie. So, Pitt's India Act, Charter Act 1813, followed by Charter Act 1833, last charter, that is Charter Act 1853, and then Government of India Act 1858. Okay. Now, there were three major presidencies in India: Bombay, Bengal, and Madras. All these presidencies had their respective governors. Like there was a separate governor for Bombay, designated as Governor of Bombay. A separate one from Madras, designated as Governor of Madras. But the Governor of Bengal was designated as Governor General of Bengal. And the first Governor General of Bengal was Lord Warren Hastings. So here you can study about him in Regulating Act 1773. Then Pitt's India Act 1784. Now, as I've told you, English East India Company, it's a shareholders company. So there was nobody to have a control over English East India Company. So as per Pitt's India Act, it is said that Board of Control consisting of 6 members came up to overhaul the activities of English East India Company. Okay. So Pitt's India Act, Charter Act 1813. Now as per Charter Act 1813, there were different clauses. And the very first clause was, monopoly of English East India Company in India ended but not completely. Monopoly was still kept intact in terms of tea and China. Then, specifically, second important thing. What was that? Second important aspect of Charter Act 1813. English East India Company will now spend rupees 1 lakh for the purpose of educating Indians. Third important thing. Christian missionaries were allowed to come in India and preach Christianity. So, Charter Act 1813, Charter Act 1833, most important one. Why? Perfect Sunita, trade monopoly. As per Charter Act 1833, which is also referred as St. Helena Act, Governor General of Bengal was now designated as Governor General of India. Charter Act 1853, last charter and the most important one, Government of India Act 1858. As per this act, the rule of English East India Company in India ended, and it was followed by the rule of Britishers in India. Why? Because prior to this, there was revolt of 1857. So these governor generals you cannot miss. Okay. Another important section that you need to focus upon in modern Indian history is series of wars. Anglo-Mysore Wars. Anglo-Maratha Wars. Anglo-Burma War. Anglo-Afghan Wars. Anglo-Sikh Wars. Okay. Now let me give you a small example about this. There were series of 4 wars, Anglo-Mysore War. First, second, third and fourth. Now the first Anglo-Mysore War, it approximately took place from 1766 to 1769. Okay. Yes, perfect Sunita, a very good guess. So in that case, now why was Mysore important? Who was Hyder Ali? Who was Tipu Sultan, son of Hyder Ali? Now let me give you a small example. Okay. Mysore initially was a part of Vijayanagar Empire. And in 1565, specifically it is believed that Battle of Talikota was fought. And Battle of Talikota, it is said that Vijayanagar was defeated. And after that, Vijayanagar Empire started disintegrating and many small kingdoms came out from Vijayanagar Empire. And one such kingdom was Hindu Vodiyar dynasty. In fact, Hindu Vodiyar dynasty was created way back in 1399. But they were working as a vassal for the rulers of Vijayanagar Empire. But it started gaining prominence after Battle of Talikota. So specifically one of the rulers was Tikkadev Raj. And then comes another ruler whose name was Krishna Raj. Now Krishna Raj was not that competent ruler. And he had 2 important ministers, Devraj and Nanjaraj. I have covered series of Anglo-Mysore War as a part of classroom series. You can go through that as well, guys. Okay. So Krishna Raj, he was not that competent ruler. He had 2 important ministers, that is Devraj and Nanjaraj. And these 2 used to take care of the administration. So simple words, he was just a puppet. He was a tutelar head. And during this time, Hyder Ali joined as a horseman, as a part of the army of Vodiyar dynasty. He was very intelligent. He was a person with daring and determination. And very soon, he became the military commander. In fact, he was the first to establish an arsenal with the help of French experts, specifically at a place called as Dindigul. A very important fact, I'm talking about Hyder Ali. So, by 1761, Hyder Ali declared himself as a sultan. And Mysore became the epicenter of his activities. Now, Mysore, why it was economically prosperous? First, Krishna Tungabhadra Dwap. Second, sandalwood. Third, handicrafts. Fourth, Kollar gold fields. Okay. So these were the major reasons for success of Mysore. And the region of Mysore, there were 3 others who were having an eye over the region of Mysore. That was English East India Company, Nizam of Hyderabad and the Marathas. And this culminated into series of Anglo-Mysore wars. Tipu Sultan. Why Tipu Sultan is called as the missile man of that time? In fact, Tipu Sultan finds a mention in the book of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab. That is Wings of Fire. Like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab, he had visited NASA once and he said that I saw a painting there, and probably the scenes that were depicted in the painting was not any European battlefield, or they were not European soldiers. Probably they were the soldiers of South Asia and might be from India. Why? Because rocket system or missile system that has been depicted in that painting. And in fact, you cannot believe that first proper missile system or rocket system, you can Google that. It was a contribution by Tipu Sultan, who is also oftenly referred as Tiger of Mysore. He used iron-cased missiles or iron-cased rockets. And they had, like, specifically these rockets, like they can traverse a distance of approximately 2 to 2.5 kilometers. So that was a contribution of Tipu Sultan. So here Anglo-Maratha wars, Anglo-Burma war, Anglo-Afghan war and Anglo-Sikh war. Just go through them. Okay? Then comes what you need to focus upon. Land revenue system. In that case, focus on 3. Zamindari system, Rayatwari system and Mahalwari system. Now let me give you an example of a question, and through this question you will be very easily you can correlate this. Try to answer this question. The first statement is Zamindari system of land revenue covered the maximum part of British India. Second statement goes like, the Mahalwari system of land revenue came up during the time of Lord Cornwallis. Which among the following statements are correct? Only one, only two, both, none. Take a guess. The first statement is, Zamindari system of land revenue covered maximum part of British India. Second statement goes like, specifically, Mahalwari system of land revenue came up during the time of Lord Cornwallis. So which among the following statements are correct? Take a guess. Yes? Both the statements are correct. Only one statement is correct, that is first one. Only second one is correct, or both are wrong. Yes? Sunita, you say only one is correct. Okay. Anyone else who is going to take the guess? My friends, both the statements are wrong. Both the statements are wrong. Now let's understand. Now Zamindari system, it came up during the time of Lord Cornwallis. It is also called as permanent settlement. Very simple words. Zamindar used to act as a middleman between company on one side and the peasants on the other side. English East India Company won't be collecting the land revenue directly from the peasants. They have appointed zamindars. So those zamindars will collect the revenue from the peasant, keep their commission, give it to the company. 11% was kept by zamindar as his commission, and 89% of the revenue went to the company. Clear? So 89% it went to the company. So in that case, what happens? Zamindar was acting as a middleman. So here it is also called as permanent settlement. Why? Because for the next 1 decade, the taxes would be fixed. And it covered 19% of British India, which was not maximum, it was least. So first statement is wrong. Rayatwari system. Here, English East India Company would directly collect the taxes from the peasants. And the genesis of Rayatwari system goes back to the era of Sher Shah Suri. Then to Akbar, because during the time of Sher Shah Suri, the land was categorized into 3 categories and the taxes were collected accordingly. The land which was very fertile, they used to give high taxes. The land which was average, they had to pay average taxes. And the land which was barren, they paid minimum taxes. Here it is said that it was adopted by Akbar as well. Now during the time of Akbar, the land was categorized into 4 categories. Polaj, Parauti, Chachar and Banjar. Same thing was adopted by Britishers here. Now they will directly collect the revenue from the peasants on the basis of quality of the soil. The land which was very fertile, they had to pay 60 to 66% as a tax, and this was less as per Britishers. The land that was average, they had to pay approximately around 50 to 55% as a tax, and the barren land had to pay 40 to 45% as a tax. So this is nothing but Rayatwari system of land revenue, and it covered the maximum part of British India. It covered approximately 51% of British India. So it is Rayatwari system that covered the maximum part, not the Zamindari system. And Mehelwari system was not introduced by Lord Cornwallis. In fact, it came up during the time of Lord William Bentinck. And it was implemented by R.M. Bird and Holt Mackenzie. So you can expect questions on land revenue system. Other important topic that you should not miss is education commissions. First, Wood's Dispatch. Hunter Commission. Wood's Dispatch, Hunter Commission. After this, specifically Sadler Commission. Prior to Sadler Commission, Rayleigh Commission. Hartog Committee. And Nai Talim. Now let me give you a small example and we'll understand this with the help of a question again. The very first statement. The concept of Nai Talim was given for the first time by Acharya Vinoba Bhave. Second important statement. Okay. The syllabus of Wardha scheme of education or Nai Talim was prepared by Dr. Zakir Hussain. So, which among the following statements are correct? Take a guess. First of all, the scheme Nai Talim, it was related to whom? He is one of the very famous nationalists. Yes, take a guess. It is related to M.K. Gandhi. Nai Talim or Wardha scheme of education, it was a brainchild of M.K. Gandhi. And the syllabus of Nai Talim was prepared by whom? The syllabus was prepared by Dr. Zakir Hussain. Now let's understand about Education Commission. Initially, Britishers were not at all interested in educating Indians. But with the passage of time, Warren Hastings took certain steps. Like he established Madrasa Alia. Then Jonathan Duncan, who was also later on the governor of Bombay, he established Sanskrit College at Banaras. Then later on what happened? Charter Act 1813. And as per this act, Britishers decided that they are going to spend 1 lakh rupees every year for the purpose of education. And then comes how to educate Indians. So there cropped up a controversy which is referred as Anglicist Orientalist controversy. Now Anglicist, as the name suggests, we will educate Indians in English language compulsorily. Why? Because we want Indians by blood and color of their skin. But by their manners, morals and etiquettes, they should be complete Englishmen. And this view was supported by C.B. Saunders, Bushby, Colvin, R.M. Bird, W.W. Bird. Okay. And then comes James and Henry Prinsep. They believe that initially we will educate Indians in their mother tongue, vernacular language, and then we will start English education for them. Okay. Now what happened? Britishers came up with the first Education Commission during the time of Dalhousie, Wood's Dispatch. And Wood's Dispatch, it is referred as Magna Carta of English Education. Followed by Hunter Commission, Sadler Commission, Rayleigh Commission, Hartog Committee and Nai Talim. So these are the commissions related to education system. So please go through them as well. Another important aspect that you need to focus upon is Pemine commissions. At least 3 to 4 you have to study. The first one that you need to study is Colonel Bade Committee, Strachey Commission, Lyall Commission, then John Woodhead Commission, See, sometimes there could be a direct statement in the examination. These are the commissions related to education, famine, irrigation or currency. So here at least you should know the names of different commissions. So do not skip the part of famine commissions as well. Focus on economic drain theory that was given by Dadabhai Navroji. Deindustrialization of Indian industry. And then comes another important topic. And these days it has become one of the most important topics of UPSC, socio-religious reform movements. Here, rather than studying things randomly, do one thing. Okay, like who was the founder of Arya Samaj, who was the founder of Ramakrishna Mission and Ramakrishna Mutt. Then, what we say, Scheduled Caste Federation was started by whom? Who established People's Education Society? Okay, who started Shuddhi movement? Do not study in random manner. Divide the socio-religious reform movements into specifically 4 parts. First is Eastern, Western, Southern and Pan-India. Okay. If I speak about who established Atmiya Sabha, the purpose of establishing Atmiya Sabha, what was the objective of establishing Atmiya Sabha? Who established Brahmo Samaj? Who was the founder of Brahmo Samaj of India? Whose slogan was this? Brahmo Samaj, or specifically Brahmoism is Catholicism and universal. So these are the things related to eastern part of India. Like Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji, he is called as specifically bridge between the past and the future, bridge between the east and the west. He is referred as father of Bengal Renaissance, father of Indian Renaissance, pioneer of journalism. Okay, so in eastern India, study about Brahmo Samaj of India, Navavidhan, Sadharana Brahmo Samaj. Okay, all these can be categorized under eastern India. Western India, focus majorly on the reform movements initiated by Jyotiba Phule ji and Savitribai Phule ji. The first girls' school established by whom? The first girls' schools established by Jyotiba Phule, Pune. Then Sarvajanik Satya Dharma Pustak was written by, apart from Sarvajanik Satya Dharma Pustak, who wrote Gulamgiri? So it was Jyotiba Phule. Western India, the movements associated with B.R. Ambedkar. Then M.G. Ranade. Apart from M.G. Ranade and B.R. Ambedkar ji, Pune Sarvajanik Sabha. Okay. Then comes Southern India. Southern India also there are major movements, but here you need to focus upon 3 important movements in Southern India. And please do not skip these movements. Like who among the following is referred as Periyar? First thing. Second question, who started the Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalan Yogam? Which among the following political party is also referred as South Indian Liberation Federation? So here study about justice movement that laid the foundation of the Justice Party. Then self-respect movement, very, very important one, started by E.V. Ramaswamy Naikarji, who is also referred as Periyar. Who gave the title of Periyar, that is the great one or the elder one, to E.V. Ramaswamy ji. Then third one, Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalan Yogam, started by what we say, Sri Narayana Guru. And this movement is related to Ezava community, also referred as Ezava movement. What is Aravipuram movement? Okay. Where was Vedanta Ashram established? So all these concepts are important. And Pan-India, you have to study 3 important movements. Arya Samaj, then specifically Theosophical Society, and then comes Ramakrishna Mission and Ramakrishna Mutt. Now, the founder of Arya Samaj was Swami Dayananda Saraswati ji, whose original name was Mool Shankar. It is said that Swami Dayananda Saraswati ji also started Shuddhi movement. So there could be a probable question, who started Shuddhi movement? So it was started by the proponent of Arya Samaj. What is Shuddhi movement all about? those people who were voluntarily or forcibly converted into other religion and now are willing to come back into old fold of Hinduism, for them a movement was started which is called a Shuddhi movement. So it was started under the aegis of Arya Samaj. Okay, then which among the following had a disputes over the education system? It was Arya Samaj. Who established Arya Mahila Samaj? It was Pandita Ramabai ji. Similarly, Theosophical Society and Ramakrishna Mission. Apart from this, also focus on Muslim reform movements. And in Muslim reform movements, focus on 5. You can note them down. The first one is Wahhabi movement. Second one is Titu Mir's movement. Third one is Faraizi movement. Fourth one is Ahmadiyya movement started by Mirza Ghulam Ahmad in 1889, which is also called a standard bearer of Mohammedan Renaissance. And the fifth one is Aligarh movement associated with Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. So do not skip these 5 Muslim reform movements. Okay. Moving on next that you need to focus upon. Apart from this, okay, peasant movements. Now, let me ask you a question, simple one. First question. Okay. The reason for Deccan riots of 1875 was American Civil War. First statement, the reason for specifically Deccan riots or Deccan uprising was American Civil War. And second, in Deccan riots of 1875, army help was sought. Yes, Sunita, I'll surely try to conduct the classroom series live. Okay, and don't worry. Probably since I have other lectures or engagements, do not worry. I'll make sure that in the coming sessions, in maximum number of classroom series sessions, I will be coming live. Okay, Sunita ji. So don't worry about that. I'll try for sure. So, yes, try to answer this question. First statement was, the reason for Deccan uprising was, yes, American Civil War. And second was specifically, army help was sought to suppress the movement. Take a guess. My friends, both the statements are correct. Both the statements. So peasant movements you have to study compulsorily. In peasant movements, focus on what? In peasant movements, focused on specifically Deccan uprising. Apart from Indigo agitation of Bengal, Champaran Satyagraha, Kheda Satyagraha, Bardoli Satyagraha, Tebaga movement. Okay. So these are the Eka movement. All these are the peasant movements that you need to focus upon. Apart from peasant movement, also go through tribal movements once. Then important press act, like there is Licensing Regulation 1823, then Registration Act, Licensing Act 1857. But the most important press act that you cannot miss. See, in that case, yes, perfect, Sunita, both the statements are correct, and thanks a lot. And most important, I am telling you, there are different press act. That is Licensing Regulation 1823. Then Press Act 1835. It came up during the time of Sir Charles Metcalfe. Then Licensing Act 1857. Then Vernacular Press Act 1878 and many more. If you cannot study all of them, at least study one important one, Vernacular Press Act 1878. A very important one. As the name suggests, it is directed against vernacular newspapers. Yes, perfect, Leo Mahesh. Very good. The most important one is Vernacular Press Act. Like there could be a probable question, which among the following newspaper overnight became an English newspaper to escape the Vernacular Press Act 1878? Can you take a guess? Which newspaper overnight became an English newspaper to escape the Vernacular Press Act? Perfect, Leo. It was during the time of Lord Lytton. Yes. It was Amrit Bazar Patrika. As per Vernacular Press Act 1878, 4 newspapers had to stop their publications. Okay. And these newspapers were specifically Som Prakash, Dakka Prakash, Bharat Mihir and Samachar. And to escape the Vernacular Press Act, one newspaper overnight became an English newspaper. And that was Amrit Bazar Patrika. One more thing I'll tell you. Please also go through, it's a factual part, but you have to go through that. Yes, very good, Leo. You have to go through that, and that part is important newspapers. Now let me ask you a few important questions, or I'll write a question here. Okay. Which among the following newspapers are correctly matched? Okay. New India, M.K. Gandhi. Second, Mook Nayak, Annie Besant. Pratap, V.D. Savarkar. And Maratha, Bal Gangadhar Tilak. This is option 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll give you 20 seconds. Okay. Which among the following are correctly matched? Sometimes there could be factual questions in the examination, and there have been factual questions in the examination. Take a guess. Yes? Yes, take a guess. I'm giving you 20 seconds, guys. Answer in the comment section. Sunita, you say the 4th one is correct, or all the 4 are correct? All the 4 are correct, or just the 4th one is correct? Sunita, you have taken a perfect guess. It's a correct one. New India, it's a newspaper of Annie Besant, not of M.K. Gandhi. Young India is the newspaper of whom? M.K. Gandhi. No, Leo, it's not 1 and 4, it's just 4. Mook Nayak is not of Annie Besant, it is of B.R. Ambedkar ji. Pratap, it is not of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, it is of Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi. Yes, perfect, Sunita. Maratha and Kesari are the newspaper of Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Okay. My next question. Voice of India is the newspaper of. Take a guess. Voice of India, it's the newspaper of. I'll give you a simple hint. No, Leo, it's not Ambedkar ji. Voice of India. I'll give you a hint. He is also called as a grand old man of India. A very important one. And he has presided 3 to 4 sessions of Indian National Congress. Fast. Yes. Very good, Leo. It's Dada Bhai Navroji. So, newspapers are important. Other important topic. Revolt of 1857. Yesterday itself, I have covered this topic as a part of classroom series. Okay. What were the important causes for revolt of 1857? How did revolt of 1857 spread in the major part of northern India? And yesterday, apart from what is given in majority of the books as a part of classroom series, I have covered many additional points. Not 1 or 2, many additional points. Like, I'll give you a small example. What is Ambala uprising? Second, what is Ajnal massacre? I have covered this. Those who haven't what we seen yesterday's session, please go through yesterday's session. You will cover all this. Then, what is August Proclamation? What is Chapati movement? Bawan Imli episode. Case of Alim Beg. So, specifically, all these are the topics that I have covered yesterday in quite depth and detail, which do not find mention in majority of the books. Like what we have studied in majority of the books? rather it be Spectrum, Bipin Chandra, that revolt of 1857 began on 10th of May from Meerut. Correct? Now, revolt of 1857 began on 10th of May. But there's a historian referred as K.C. Yadav ji. He has mentioned that revolt of 1857, okay, specifically it began on 10th of May and 9 hours prior from the region of Ambala. Okay, Ajnal massacre, it's a part of revolt of 1857. August proclamation, 25th August. The proclamation was made by the Mughal Emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar. So all these are the additional points that you have to study. Apart from this, leaders of revolt of 1857 and reasons for failure of revolt of 1857. Now comes the important activities of Indian National Congress. Moderates, extremist. Okay. Take a guess. First question. Indian National Congress, my very first question is, did any Englishman preside over the sessions of Indian National Congress or not? And if yes, how many? And if no, then there's no question. Yes, my question is, did any Englishman preside over the session of Indian National Congress? If yes, how many? If no, then it's okay. Take a guess. Yes, please. Leo Mahesh, you say 3. Okay, just pay attention. There were 4 Englishmen who have presided the sessions of Indian National Congress. Okay, listen to me. Indian National Congress was formed on 28th December 1885 at a place called as Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College, Bombay. And the very first session of Indian National Congress was presided by Vomesh Chandra Banerjee. And it was attended by 72 delegates. The second session was held in Calcutta and presided by the Grand Old Man of India, Dadabhai Navroji, and attended by approximately 436 delegates, approximately. And the third session of Indian National Congress was presided by the first Muslim president, Badruddin Tayyabji, and held at Madras. There are 4 Englishmen who have presided the sessions of Indian National Congress. The first one was George Yule, followed by William Wedderburn. Then comes Henry Cotton and Alfred Webb. So these are the 4 Englishmen who have presided the sessions of Indian National Congress. Alan Octavian Hume never presided the sessions of Indian National Congress. In fact, he was just a secretary to Indian National Congress. Okay. Annie Besant Sunita ji, she was an Anglo-Indian. And my question was, Englishmen who presided the sessions of INC. Okay. So, right from the start itself, Indian National Congress was divided on ideological basis into 2 parts, moderates and the extremist. Now, moderates, they had a very different working pattern. Like moderates believed in PPP, prayer, protest and petition. They believed that we want independence, but not all of a sudden. Okay. And that too within the constitutional limit without any bloodshed. On the other hand, extremists believe that for getting independence, even if we have to go for bloodshed, we will do that. Okay. This is nothing but moderates and extremists. Many historians do believe that the politics of Indian National Congress from 1885 to 1905 was dominated by whom? The moderate section. And from 1905 to 1910 by the extremist. So, the most important one, do study the Swadeshi movement, All India Muslim League, Surat Split, and most important one, Indian Council Act 1909. In 1904, Lord Curzon announced the partition of Bengal on what pretext? Bengal has become too big to be administered by a single viceroy. In such a situation, you could have appointed additional governor general, additional commissioner, but here you had something different agenda that was going on in your mind. Because you wanted to divide India on communal lines, because West Bengal was a Hindu majority province and East Bengal was a Muslim majority province. And for this you announced the partition of Bengal. And against this, at Banaras session of Indian National Congress, which took place in 1905, call for Swadeshi movement was taken by Gopal Krishna Gokhale ji, the moderate leader. Then All India Muslim League, that was formed in 1906, Surat split 1907, Indian Council Act 1909, wherein separate electorate was given to the Muslim community for the first time. Please do not skip the concepts of separate electorate and reservation of seats. There's a difference between separate electorate and reservation of seats. Okay? After this, go through revolutionaries. Apart from this, all the movements directly from Home Rule League movement, Lucknow Pact, Lucknow Merger. Okay? Then Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, Rowlatt Act. And the most important one, arrival of M.K. Gandhi, because after 1917, the politics of Indian National Congress would be majorly driven by M.K. Gandhi. So do not skip any of the movements associated with M.K. Gandhi. The most important first one is non-cooperation movement. Second one is Dandi March. Third one is civil disobedience movement. Fourth one is individual satyagraha. Okay. And the fifth one is Quit India movement. So do not miss any of the movements of M.K. Gandhi. So compulsorily, rather it be for the prelims or the main sections. Okay. So in that case, what happens? You have to focus on this non-cooperation movement, Dandi March, civil disobedience movement, individual satyagraha and Quit India movement. Okay. Then another important aspect that you need to understand, you cannot, what we say, afford to miss that. Compulsorily, Morley-Minto reforms or Indian Council Act 1909, Government of India Act 1919, also called as Montego-Chelmsford reforms, because Montego was the Secretary of State for India and Chelmsford was Viceroy of India. And then comes Government of India Act 1935, which is also referred as Mini Constitution of India. So please focus on all these acts. Okay? Compulsorily. There could be a direct question in the examination. The genesis of Rajya Sabha goes back to. Answer is more what we say, Government of India Act 1919. Second question that can crop up in the examination specifically was Viceroy's Executive Council. The first law member was added as per which act? It was 1909. Satyendra Prasad Sinha was the first law member. Okay. Separate electorate given to the Muslim was extended to Sikh, Europeans, Anglo-Indians as per which act? It was as per Government of India Act 1919. Clear? Diarchy was introduced in the provinces as per which act? So it was as per Government of India Act 1919. Apart from this, Simon Commission, Roundtable Conferences, Nehru Report, Jinnah's 14-point plan, then what we say, Gandhi-Irwin Pact, Communal Award, Pune Pact. All these are the important things that you cannot afford to miss. Now, the very first question that crops up in the mind of every aspirant, sir, you have told us now what points to focus upon. And secondly, we are confused about which sources to prefer. Which books should we read? As soon as, like, I had one of the messages on Telegram and the student was like, sir, as soon as I see Spectrum, I feel sleepy. Why? It's such a bulky book. And in that case, like, what all things to note down? Then Bipin Chandra, many of my seniors who have, who prepared for the civil services examination, they have told us, read a book called as Plassey to Partition by Shekhar Bandopadhyay. Okay, so what do we need to prefer? Okay, yes, that's the thing, Sunita ji, correct? So what all do we need to prefer? We are completely confused. Somebody say that prefer the notes of these classes, prefer the notes of this. First important thing, whenever you are preparing modern Indian history, you need to understand one thing. Okay, remove one myth that you have to remember the dates. But remember one thing, that you have to understand things in chronological manner. First thing. Second thing, many of us believe that it is just rote memorization of facts. Again, remove this myth from your mind. It's not just rote memorization of facts. Okay? Apart from chronological events, you also have the concepts to study. So focus on the concept. And I would suggest you, rather than going for 10 sources, it is always said, read one book. It's better to read one book 10 times rather than reading 10 books. One book that you can prefer is Plasi to Partition by Shekhar Bandopadhyay. Second book that you can prefer is Spectrum. Third book that you can prefer is V.D. Mahajan. For modern Indian history, I'm saying. Fourth one that you can prefer is B.L. Grover and Alka Mehta. And the fifth one is Bipin Chandra. Now the same question that comes up in front of every one of you. Sir, everyone is suggesting the same. What's different in what you are suggesting? I'm not saying to study all these 5. Pick one. And if you have to go by my personal choice, I would suggest you one book. B.L. Grover and Alka Mehta. That's it. Okay? Plus, it's a bilingual book, that is Ghatna Chakra. And Ghatna Chakra specifically, it has a questions related to specifically, you can see, prelims examination of past 25 years. It's in Hindi and English both. Okay? And in such a situation, your past 25 years MCQs you are going to get of history. Like whatever questions have come up from Swadeshi movement, whatever questions have come up from the Indian Press Act, whatever questions of past 25 years have come up from the Governor Generals, all of them have been mentioned. So prefer 2 books. You can use Ghatna Chakra for preferring your MCQs, history one, and second you can prefer B.L. Grover and Alka Mehta. Okay? Yes, simple. Leo Maheshji, correct. What happens usually? See, more than vocabulary, we need to focus on the concepts. There's no point in reading the jargons until and unless you understand the meaning of those. Isn't that so? So here the concepts are important. The book and the language should be lucid. And hence I'm telling you B.L. Grover and Alka Mehta. Okay? See, I'm not saying Spectrum is not a good book. It's a very good one. But the most important point is Spectrum is very bulky. And in that case, in the end, you don't have only one subject to revise. You have history, geography, polity, economy, science and tech, ethics, international relations, economic survey, volume 1, volume 2, budget, India yearbook, many environment, disaster management, internal security. So you have a lot many subjects. So your material should be confined, it should be concise, and you should go for multiple revisions. So I have given you the suggestion of a book. What important topics that you cannot afford to miss during your preparation for what we say modern Indian history. Apart from this, I am going through the classroom series of modern Indian history, and as a part of that series, okay, I have covered many topics. Like recently I have covered the causes and the course of revolt of 1857, and in the coming sessions I would be covering about the leaders of revolt of 1857. So don't specifically miss those topics, first thing. Second, if anybody has any kind of a question, any kind of a doubt, please feel free to connect. Okay, my Telegram channel is history_Alok Ojha. I repeat, history_Alok Ojha. Okay. Yes, it is also succinct. Yes, what we say Leo Maheshji. You can also prefer that as well. So my friends, this was the approach for modern Indian history that you guys need to follow. StudyIQ Target Year 2027 has come up with an English Resolution GSP2I Foundation batch. And these batches are available in 3 what we say languages, that is bilingual, Hindi plus English. Second one is separate batch in Hindi medium. And the most important one, English medium batch. And this will cater to the needs of the aspirants precisely from southern part of India and northeastern India. Okay, everything would be taught to you completely in English language. History, geography, polity, economy, science and tech, current affairs, everything. And as a part of Achievers Day sale, the prices are starting at 12,499, which is quite affordable in comparison to the hefty prices of the offline classes in Delhi. Correct? So, use the code Alok Live to get the benefits of these batches. And the sale would be ending on 30th of November 2025. I repeat, 30th of November 2025. If you have any kind of a doubt, any kind of a query, okay, there is a form given in the description and the link of the form is given there. So you can contact on, like you can fill the form, and apart from this, if you have any query, you can contact on the number that is flashing on your screen. So guys, with this, I'll stop my words for the day. See you guys very soon with the live sessions of Classroom series, and specifically the next chapter would be Leaders of the Revolt of 1857. Apart from the leaders, like normal leaders that are mentioned in our book, we are also going to study about other leaders, which rarely finds mention in few of the books. Diwan Maniram Dutt Baruha from the region of Assam, Uda Devi from the region of Kanpur, Gangadeen Mehtar from the region of Kanpur, Surendra Sai from the region of Odisha. So we are also going to throw light on those aspects. Okay guys, so with this I'll stop my words. See you guys very soon. Thank you and have a very wonderful day. Bye bye everyone.